What's good, everyone? I'm Andy. This is Pat. This is Drag the Lake coming at you with a little bit of extra bonus content because we don't normally do this. But when something extra special happens, looks like I have an old Russian woman hat. Let me adjust that. Sometimes when we have something extra special happen, we got to hit you with the extra content. So this week, we want to talk to you today about the new album by Boundaries called Burring all that brightness. But Boundaries just dropped a new album called Burning Brightness, and me and Pat have been fucking with it, to say the least. Pat, how you been feeling about this fucking album?
I like it a lot. I was actually just discussing this with you a little bit beforehand about like how I like our process and suggesting music to each other.
Yeah.
You'll find something and you'll send me a like, hey, have you been listening to this? I love how also you never assume that I don't know what it is, which is great. Like you
Yeah.
send me something and you'll say, have you listened to this? I'll give it a listen.
Well, you know what happens when you assume.
You are an asshole.
You are
Every time.
a raging, gaping piece of shit.
You're a cherry red asshole ready to open up and rosebud for all of us.
A quick sidebar. I remember one time a teacher was saying, I assumed, and she was like, you know what happens when you assume? And he was like, what? She's like, you make an ass out of you and me. And he just paused and he stared at this little girl and he goes, no, it doesn't. And then just moved on with other shit. And I was like, what?
Wait, what?
You can't do that. That's the rule.
Yes, it does. That's the same.
It does actually. You can't just say it doesn't, but he just fucking. But anyway,
but yeah, I like the fact that you suggest a song or an album to me or something like that. I listen to it, and it almost always reminds me of something that I really like, another band that I really like, and I'll go, oh yeah, it reminds me of them, and then you will have never heard of them. So it's like this wonderful cycle of us just kind of like suggesting new and old things to each other. But this band in particular, I thought was it was like refreshing how good it was.
Yeah,
Every other time like I get like new music or something like that, I'm like, oh, I love this, like, but this part was a little whatever. Like there's always like little caveats or something like that.
Yeah.
This particular album, Burning Brightness,
Burton,
which is one of the hardest things to say, apparently.
I'm realizing I've never said those words together out loud. Yeah. And now that we have to do an album review, I'm shitting myself. Brightness.
I'm glad it wasn't named Worcestershire.
The new Boundaries album, Worcestershire. No, you remember the 30 Rock joke?
Yeah. The rural juror.
The shore she was in, the rural juror.
The rural juror. Yeah, I think it's like it's like refreshing how fucking good it is. It reminds me a lot of the band Embrace the End, as well as a band both short-lived bands. So I hope this isn't a curse of excellent original great bands, but they only had like one or two releases and never even like toured that much, at least as far as like available to me when I knew about it.
I think that can be a curse sometimes, because like I remember that I always talk about Run the Jewels, but what's stressful about being a fan of theirs is like every time they put out an album, you're just like, oh, okay, now that like that was so good, they can't top that. Now they're gonna fucking suck.
Yeah.
And I think but then they just keep getting better. But some bands I think can't, because you know what I mean? Like you see the reaction to people with your album, you see how people fuck with it. You like as a band, you know which ones like you remember this being in a band, you write a bunch of songs, you like all of them, but you know which ones are the best songs.
Yeah, you know which ones are like get the best reactions, have the most and it's not just like the ones you have your favorites.
Yeah,
you have the ones that you actually like, the ones you like playing the most. And it very rarely does it happen to be the ones you enjoy playing the most become the most popular.
Yeah, and I'm
actually a blessing and a curse.
And I'm sure like when bands have these great albums, it can like fuck with them and then sort of be a hard thing for them to sort of keep their shit together on. But right. No, Boundaries has been out for a while. They've been out since like 2016, 2017. I know I listened to their first album, it's okay. And then they had like two or three other ones after that, not counting this one, that were all very strong and very good. So they've been doing it for a minute. They got about, like I said, like 4 albums under their belt, and the first one's good. It's just like, but it's not like my thing. But like all the other shit after that has been very strong and consistent. So I don't see these guys tapping out anytime soon. A thing you said earlier that I wanted to touch on, you were saying it's very refreshing. It was shit like this was making me think it's why. So every month I'll do the like top songs of the month. You can listen to them on iTunes. I'll make sure to post. I haven't posted the October video about it yet, so I will do that. You guys can check out. We do. I make these playlists every month of all the best new music, and I got to be honest. I would really appreciate if you guys check them the fuck out because it is goddamn tedious. Because I used to say like people say like music sucks now. And I always go, no, there's just a lot more shitty music.
Yeah.
You just got to work a little harder to find the good music. That's why I'm making these playlists for you guys. But this is my like second month of like really trying to do it. I really underestimated how much bad music there is. There's so much just bad fucking music. But it's bands like this. It's why I do it. You know what I mean? You hit the stinker 1,000 times in a row. It's that 1,001st time you stumble across, a Boundaries album or some shit like that.
I did not skip one song. I really like legitimately. I listened to every song front to back. Like, it's an entertaining album.
Yeah. So calling it like refreshing is a good thing because it's like if you're really into the music the way we are, you do run into a lot of fucking stinkers. So and then to say what you were saying before is but then on top of that, there's a lot of bands that are really good. But then you're like, yeah, but they'll have an album with like 10 songs, and then you'll have like the shitty fucking like ballad-esque song in the middle that you always skip over.
It's very predictable. Yeah.
And then they'll have a bunch of interludes that are unnecessary long. That's a big part about this. They got the interlude, 47 seconds, perfect interlude length, not long at all.
You know what that is? That is that's a live like that. To me seems like a little like live hack kind of thing of like, while this is going on, these guys can go tune up, or this guy can take a break, go take a drink. I mean, like it's something that's built in to a live performance. Like feel like it's like we can play this album front to back for you live and have it be. It's kind of the same way I feel about like Between the Buried and Me. Like it's just like statistically they looked at the layout of the album and they're like, we can play this nonstop front to back and still be able to like. Everybody gets adequate rest. Yeah. Everybody's still doing a lot and it still sounds really good. You know what I mean?
You'll see that with some bands where they write their song for the studio, and then when it's time to play it live, they don't have the capability to do that.
Yeah. Between the Buried and Me does. And I feel like this band, I think Boundaries is another band that probably has like that. It's a full picture. It really does seem like a full picture because like you were saying, there's a lot of stinkers out there for sure. But there's also a lot of bands. I think this was the point that you were making was like, there's just a lot of bands that are they're good. Like
there's a lot of bands.
It's not offensive. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's just like, there's nothing special about it. I've heard.
If I was like grading a test, I'd give this an A+. But most bands get like a C+.
Yeah. C+, something like that. Like, it's not wrong. It's not bad. It's just like, it's hard to explain because like it's theoretically
it's easier to explain why shit. Sorry.
Well, no, go ahead.
I said it's easier to explain why shit sucks than it is to explain why it's good.
Right. There's just something about it. It's not like they didn't discover new notes. They're not making.
That would be great, dude.
It would be really fucking
cool. That would be great if fucking Boundaries had a bunch of like they were spelunking and they were like, we were down in the Andes Mountains or whatever the fuck. And they're like,
you guys ever heard of a S sharp?
We found 24 new notes. Never before.
They were burying, right? So I mean, they might have gotten down there, they might have dug deep and found some new chords, but they're not playing anything like they didn't invent new things in music necessarily. There's nothing like, I can't put my finger on it.
You know what they're doing?
You can't say why this is so refreshingly better than all those other ones when they're not necessarily bad. That's all passing. It's all good.
A big part about what they're doing is they're coming off very genuine and they're cutting out the fat. So I want to talk about like my favorite song off this album that I probably listen to like, dog, if I listen to it 50 times, I would guess that's like an under underestimate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've listened to this song, My Body is a Cage, so many fucking times. I don't know about you. That's my favorite song off this album right now. And if you listen to it, it comes off like, I was like breaking down the lyrics. The lyrics come off very genuine and real, not like they're trying to go for anything. Like he's just kind of being like, this is what I have to fucking say. And then if you look at it from a music standpoint, it's they're not reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
They start off with a fucking breakdown, then they go to a blast beat part, and then it's a sick two-step part. They do that for a little bit, and then they end on a sort of breakdown, sort of not breakdown part, but it's not as fat. It's half the speed of the two-step part. So, like, it's half the speed of the two-step part, but it's not a full breakdown part. They're not reinventing the wheel, but it's just like the way that, they're doing a thing. I always love bringing up this album, but this is why it's not just applicable to like pop punk and stuff, but like the album Rise or Die Trying by 4 Years Strong. It's like the syncopation that they do and the way that they lock in together and sort of play all their parts together, and they have a very thought out process to the way that they're playing everything rhythmically and shit. Boundaries taps into a certain thing like that. So like, while they're not reinventing the wheel with anything, rhythmically, they're very like sort of on point and just like locked in from guitar to guitar. It's just a very strong performance. It's a very robust sound. And they just have I'll say reinvent the wheel for the 80th time, but they're doing little tweaks to the old design that is just making it just come out stronger and better than what you're normally hearing.
They gave the wheel some new rims.
Basically, I know you're being a silly goose, and it's fucking working. You're the funniest guy I know. But
wait, that's not...
Oh shit! The silly goose just showed up. I like metalcore. And then
it's production, dude. It legitimately, I think the way.
But also, I'll say this: I watched a good amount of live footage. That was the part where I was like, all right, I'm gonna figure out where they fuck up.
Yeah, where's the flaw here? Because they seem pretty flawless.
You're like, oh, probably his voice probably isn't gonna be as strong live. No dice, dude. They fucking bring it live. From what I could tell, they fucking bring it live.
Yeah, so I think that maybe that's where it comes into. It's kind of like, how you like bands. I think a lot of times with those bands where you're like this. Have you ever liked bands before, Andy?
It's the whole podcast. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So like, when you're like liking a band and
liking a band,
like not like loving, but like liking.
I just go in my journal and I just write 100 times, Andrew Boundaries.
That's actually what you and Steph say at the marriage counselor too.
Andy, you're like, Andy's trying to marry a band.
So I think that I think there's ultimately it's like when a band has like that element or has that ability to that they get productions, they get performance, they understand that part of it, but they're like kind of paired up with a producer that doesn't share that same vision.
Yeah,
I would be really interested to find out if maybe they had a different production company that they worked with, like a different producer that they worked with for this, or maybe recorded at a different studio or something like that, because it's not like the band, like you said, the band has the production value in mind. They know that they got to do it live, and they have to figure out how to capture that same essence like on like a record. So if you get to that same point where you're like, how are you going to do that without, like, they get it and they were synced up with a producer that also shared that same vision. And I think that's how you get that full sound. Like,
they're kind of got to be everyone
to compose all of the ability that they already have and be able to like just structure it in a way that they're like, this is your potential. And honestly, that's what I don't feel like this should be a daunting thing. I think they're just finally shown what they can actually do. And then this is what they did.
Mm-hmm.
They wrote these songs. They, you know what I mean? Like, they had them there for them. They didn't have Fat Mike behind the pen help them out with this one, like Blink-182 does for
listen to the newest episode to get that reference.
Yeah, that's just a little plug. But I feel like legitimately though, I think it's just a lot of times that It's not that these other bands are bad or not able to do this. It's just I think they're not given the same vision or shown the same vision that they can achieve.
You know what I think? What else is happening with this
Hmm.
is I think right now, like we've been talking about a lot. Currently, like in the past couple years, there's been a strong resurgence of like metalcore, emo, screamo, different sort of like heavy genres. Emo's not super heavy, but
A
like
lot of mo's out there.
yeah, there's been a lot more mo's lately
A lot of mo.
in music, but there's a lot of there's a resurgent of a lot of like heaviest genres and different like emo type genres that were big when I was in high school. But the benefit is they're getting they're benefiting from sort of the hindsight of how everything was done. And they're also clearly fans of a lot of different things. And they've had the years and the bands to sort of learn how to mesh these genres. So that's what I've been enjoying a whole lot with a lot of these bands. And I think Boundaries with this album Bearing Brightness, they're just kind of they've figured out the best way to do it. Because if you listen to them, that they have parts where it's sing-songy. They have parts where I said they do fucking blast beats. They have the traditional open air breakdowns. They do two-step parts. They have a little bit of everything, but just over the years with playing music, listening to the shit that's been coming out, they've been able to sort of mesh all the best of all these genres and bring it into one pretty heavy fucking album. That's the other part of it too, dude. When I listen to this album, I like I could just see myself going fucking nuts at the show. That's like a big barometer of like what I fuck with. Like when I listen to Knock Loose, I mean, I went to Knock Loose and went fucking nuts at the show. If I'm listening to fucking like See You Space Cowboy or Counterparts, which I'm going to see in December, I can see myself going fucking wild at the show. Which sidebar, Counterparts is another band that if you listen to them, like sometimes they're emo, sometimes they're hardcore, sometimes they're fucking speed punk and shit like that. There's this great thing. There's this like new era of metalcore and hardcore that is just taking all the best things of all the best heavy genres and just up in the fucking game.
Dude,
And like I said, what?
They're Cormo.
Cormo? Yes, dude. Yes.
Dude, they're Cormo.
Yeah, man, that's it.
We just invented a new genre.
Yes, we did.
Cormo.
They are fucking Cormo. It's kind of accurate though.
Yeah.
It sounds ridiculous, but it's accurate to the thing because there is this thing where you have a lot of these bands with this very another one is Foreign Hands, which is actually at the fucking Counterpart show I'm gonna go to, and the See You Space Cowboy show I'm going to, and there's a very clear like emo influence on all these heavy bands. Like fuck, dude, rap has a clear emo influence right now.
What's
emo, I'm gonna expect a lot of apologies in the next couple years because you get made fun of for loving emo music, and then
we're just coming into our prime now. That's the thing.
Well, it's just funny. It's like, all right, everyone made fun of emo. Why is everyone fucking taken from it then?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm done. I'm getting sick of being right all the time.
And that's the same thing we've been saying. How long was metal or hard music or anything like that scoffed on or anything like that, and then it becomes cool to use the hardcore crazy unreadable letters, and then Celine Dion's making her shirt all metal looking and shit like that. That's not fair.
Seriously?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's actually. I don't think Celine Dion actually made it, but there's like a Celine Dion shirt with like a pentagram on it and shit like that.
That's awesome.
Metal imagery is cool. We've fucking known that for a long time. Stupid.
You stupid fucks. But all jokes aside, this Boundary album, I think you put it the best way. It's very, very refreshing. Oh. It's very refreshing. What did you say?
Cormo.
The new top Cormo album.
The new Mo.
The new Mo on the block, Boundaries. But no, it is very refreshing because you know
it's excellent.
Sifting through all that, dragging the lake as we do, you get a lot of shit. So to have something this like locked in, and that's another big thing to hammer in. It's not just a couple good songs.
Oh,
it's from start to finish.
Yeah,
it is a locked in album with a lot of care put into it, a lot of thought put into it. And it's one of the best times since fucking Jackpot Juicer came out. It's the best time I've had listening to an album.
I was gonna say this is for my final thought as far as this album is. I would say, mark my words, I really legitimately feel like this is going to be. You can start marking now. An album, like an essential album coming up. Like this is going to influence a lot of bands. This is going to be an album that bands point to and go, "This album changed my life." I legitimately feel like that. Like how Shape of Punk to Come or what is it? The opposite of October. What is the fucking Poison the Well one? Something October. the something December. Fuck. What is it?
I'm not gonna help you.
Poison the Well's first album is something the opposite of December, I think it is. I don't know. Either way, it's like obviously it wasn't that essential with me, but something like that where like bands are like this particular album. This was the one that like that made me feel like that I wanted to do this because I couldn't. I lived on this. Like this is going to be that album for a lot of people. I really feel like that.
No, I think so. It definitely has characteristics of that where it makes me like it makes me miss playing music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shit like that.
That's the highest compliment I can pay an album is when I am playing parts of it, whether it be guitar or drums or something like that. Like most of and this was one of those ones that had me fucking tapping on the fucking steering wheel.
Yeah, dude. It's a good fucking time. If you haven't listened to it yet, check it out. If you had, let us know what you think. If you think we're on point, let us know. If you think we're big fucking dum-dums, keep it to yourself. I'm Andy. I'm Andy. All my links are down below. Just look me up on Twitter. Listen to my other podcasts. Check out Pat, Baby Mermaid Productions on all the websites and shit. Until next time, he's Pat. Did I say I'm Pat?
No, I am.
Oh, okay. Also, I'm Pat. Have a great day. Bye-bye.